Hey, what's up guys? Houston here. Remember I was telling you guys about the PPP loan warrant list, okay? And so with a lot of people, they was under the impression that if they dissolve their business was no longer active or whatever, that they would not get hit with any type of fraud charges or whatever. Well, guess what? It's finna get worse. All right. And the reason it's going to get worse is now they're coming after people that took out the EIDL loan. OK, they're starting to analyze those people for fraud as well. Even though you may have had your PPP loan dismissed and then you went back and you had your EIDL loan dismissed as well. Well, they're going to be going back and reevaluating this. Now, here's the thing about it. You probably need to see my original video, what I was saying, that in order for you to qualify for the PPP loan, you had to have been making revenue prior to 2020. So from 2019, you had to show proof. And what people were doing, they was going and they was getting chef corporations. They was using CPN number, credit privacy numbers. They was doing all of these things to get this money, right? Like I said, people thought that, oh, I'll just dissolve the company and I'm good. Nope. I told you that they was coming after people. And for the people that had those attorneys and had their tax preparers filing their paperwork, then their attorneys and CPAs, they may have legal issues as well. Okay, so I'm gonna tell you again, you may want to seek out attorneys to see what's going on. Well, I'm gonna break this down for you so you can understand what they're actually looking at and what they're looking for. Okay, so what now? They're going to first do a loan and legal review, okay, of your PPP loan as well as your EIDL loan, all right? Now, some people didn't get the PPP loan. Like I didn't get the PPP loan. I got the EIDL loan. But there's certain things that you had to do to prove that you qualify for that loan, and I'm going to break that down as well. Now, here's the thing about it. Once they do this review, what they're going to be doing, they're going to reach out. They're going to decide on whether if they're going to send you to collections. OK, they're going to try to see if they can make a payment arrangement for you on demand. All right. Or they may take legal action against you. Now, this is all in a matter of how big the loan was. Now, remember, you may have submitted paperwork to dissolve your company. Your company no longer existed. You may have submitted paperwork that stated that, hey, you was clear of all of your lending from the SBA. Okay. Now, again, when you filed your taxes, when you dissolve your company and stuff, if none of that information is documented in your taxes, okay, this is what's going to create a legal issue for you. Because I told you all, when you file your taxes, when you dissolve that company and you file your taxes, you have to document that stuff. All right. Now, again, like I said, I'm not trying to scare you. I'm just trying to tell you what's up. And you may need to maybe reach out to your tax preparer or a tax accountant and stuff to make sure that they have all your proper documentation. All right, so that's number one. Number two, they have a loan red flag, okay? And so what this red flag is, let's say that you remember how they say you can go and double dip on the EIDL loan? You can go back and get a bigger loan or whatever. Well, now they're looking at it as duplicate payments, right? So they're looking at that as duplicate payments, even though they said you can go back and get more money. All right, so that's number one. All right, then number two, say that you was a sole proprietor or whatever. If you had falsification that you was a sole prop or whatever, that's another thing they're going to be looking at. So you had sole prop claims saying, okay, I'm a sole proprietor or whatever. And you just made up information about a business or whatever that never existed. Again, this is something that they're going to be looking at. All right. Number 3 is that you're missing your EIN number. Okay. So some of you all may have used your social. So you did a sole prop. Some of you all may not have put down an EIN number, right? And you filed it and you got the money and stuff like that. This is something that they're going to be looking at. So if you know that you had an EIN number prior to 2020 or from 2019, you may need to reach out to the IRS and get that EIN number, okay? Because they're going to be looking for this stuff. All right. Now, here's another thing. Number 4 is loans submitted from a foreign IP address. So a foreign IP address can be like from a VPN or something like that. You use a different system to send it out, or you from a foreign country and stuff like that, and you submitted paperwork and stuff about a business. This is things that they're going to be looking at. Foreign VPNs, IP addresses, and things of that nature. All right. So that's something that you have to take into consideration. They have this new thing. It's called the anti-fraud measure. All right. So this is going to where you have to show proof of citizenship. Okay. So you're going to have to show proof of citizenship. You're going to have to prove your date of birth. So with some of these people, they wasn't even checking the date of birth. So some of these loans were submitted for people under the age of 18 and over the age of, let's just say 81. Okay. Now they're saying up to 112 because they're looking at the Social Security Administrative Board from there. That's the reason that in the news, they was trying to cross-reference different databases from Social Security Administration to the other databases and stuff like that, is to try to find out what's fraud. Now, again, remember I said CPN numbers, credit privacy numbers. If you used a CPN number, okay, with a business and you got this funding, again, that being fraud in itself. All right. So a lot of people may have got themselves, oh, let me hook you up with the CPN because they can't track you or whatever. Well, guess what? If you had an existing business with your name, your address on it, and then you had that CPN number with that name and that address, and they measure all this up, and if they're familiar with you, when they cross-reference these different databases and stuff like that, again, these are things of what they have been doing. They're trying to cross-reference all of these different databases. And I've been telling you, the bank's been selling information as well. Okay? The hospitals sell your information. The credit bureaus sell your information. So all these companies are selling the same information about you. Okay? Since they're selling all the same information, if this information is not adding up, that's the reason I was telling you about the third-party credit bureaus like LexisNexis, Clarity, DataX, okay, Factor Trust. So when I've been telling you guys about these here third-party credit bureaus, they're not just there in terms of just verifying that your name and address. They are sharing this information about you. Okay, even like with your social media platforms and stuff like that, they're going to be sharing all of this stuff about you. There's no more I can hide. No. They're trying to do as much as they can to find out who you are and what are you doing, right? So here's another thing that you have to be aware of. Okay, because again, unfortunately, some people may have used their kids' information or their dead relatives' information or elderly's information that's on Social Security. They know good and well they never had a business or whatever and use their information to get money, right? And then they dissolve the company. So now they have to deal with this, all right? Now, here's another thing. When they do that evaluation, they're going to send out a 30-day notice, okay? So this 30-day notice, what's going to end up happening? They're going to give you 30 days to respond, okay? 30 days to respond before they start deciding what type of actions they're going to take against you, all right? They're going to give you 30 days, all right? Now, here's another thing that makes it even harder, because I see a lot of people saying, well, I done dissolved my business. I couldn't afford the payments and stuff like that. Well, they had hardship programs. Well, now they ended those hardship programs, and they don't know if they're going to bring those hardship programs. But you're still stuck with that bill. You have to make that payment, all right? Now, again, if you have the EIDL loan, I would tell you, and you're making payments, continue making whatever the minimum payments they have you making and stuff like that. All right, continue doing that, right? But at the same time, for you all that assume, well, I dissolved it, if you don't have that paperwork explaining or showing how you dissolved it in terms of what the revenues were and things of that nature, again, you're going to have challenges, all right? Now, again, I'm not trying to scare you all. I'm letting you know what's up, what's coming down the pipeline. These people are not playing. The government is financially hurt. China, Japan, Europe, they're dumping the U.S. bond, okay? So right now, the U.S. is finna go in a very unfortunate hurting pattern. And for you guys that have taken money from the government, and like I said, I took out an EIDL loan, okay? And I've been making payments and stuff like that. But one of the things, again, I would tell you guys, all right, make sure that you have your paperwork in order. So when they come asking you questions, or if they come asking you questions, you have all your documentation showing who you are, what the business did, when you filed your taxes. All of those things is going to matter, all right? So I hope this video helps you. If you have questions about business credit funding, personal credit funding, removing negative items off the credit, click the link in the description. Schedule a one-on-one consultation. Thank you.